next episode. Oh, of course, this isn't a previous episode. Welcome to our January 4th episode. No, it's our next episode. And next week, this will be an old episode. We'll have another episode, our next episode. JJ, do you have any idea what number we're on? You kind of keep
Yes,
track of
I believe this is episode 78.
Okay, welcome to episode 78 of One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. And before we jump into the first week of baseball, aside from what happened in Korea, let me remind you to like us on Facebook because we are two very lonely people who don't have friends. So if you like us on Facebook, that will help our mental health.
We're as lonely as an Oakland A's ticket taker. That's pretty lonely right there.
Right. That's right. So if you like us on Facebook, then you can communicate that to us through one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com and say, man, I liked you guys on Facebook and you seem like two very nice guys. Well, one very nice guy and me. So you can support us through Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search for One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer. You can support our efforts for as little as $3. And for those of you who are millionaires, it's kind of steep, but $10 a month, and there's the $5. So support us. We do appreciate all those who do support us. Thank you. But if you really want to be one of our super fans, go to Patreon, support us, and then we will think of you with a cape on. That's how we think of our super fans. They have capes. So if you want to be a contestant, one of our trivia contests, you want to be a guest on a brouhaha panel, or if you have like an interesting connection to baseball that would make a good interview, let us know. Drop us an email, DM us, leave a comment somewhere on YouTube or Spotify. Let us know. Say, hey, I'd like to do the trivia, or I'd like to be a contestant, or something like that. We would greatly appreciate it. JJ, how are you doing?
Really good. We made it through last night. It's baseball season, but we here in Missouri and Oklahoma area, I don't know if we have any viewers or listeners in Oklahoma, a lot of tornado warnings and thunderstorms and flash floods. So I hope everybody's okay. I know I thought of you guys over there in Peevely because it just kind of missed us last night. Was headed to Bonne Terre and up in that area. No problems over Peevely?
Slept right through it. So.
We slept right through it, Vince.
That was asleep.
Yeah, but I hope everybody's okay and had a nice Easter. That's starting off the baseball season while we a few days in now. Not a full week yet, but we're getting there, and bunch of stories. Every team's got something going on right now, and it's just been a heck of a already. We got 25 more weeks to go. This is going to be great, Vince.
Don't talk about the end already.
No, I know. I'm enjoying the journey. The journey just getting started.
I had a question for you.
Oh, yes, sir.
What do these teams have in common? The Cubs, the Rangers, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Rockies, the Orioles, the Angels, the Padres, the Twins, the Royals, the White Sox, the Tigers, the Brewers, the Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies.
We've all suffered injuries?
Nope. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either. Boy, I don't know. That's an odd collection of teams there. I can't put it together. What do they have in common?
These are all teams I've already seen play baseball this year.
Oh man, you've been on it.
Yeah. It's I usually I make it an effort every year to watch every team at least once. And I know there are some teams I don't catch a whole lot of, like the Mariners. I don't catch a lot of them. There was some teams that kind of suck that I don't pay attention to, like the Mets. Sorry, Mr. Marianello.
Yeah, I think he's tired of watching the Mets too. The way he's been talking on internet.
Yeah, but I thought, this year I'm going to keep track when I catch these teams, and then I realized, gosh, man, I'll be done easily by the middle of April.
Cool. I'll have to do that. See how I do.
Yeah. So I've had fun. I've watched a ton of baseball, and I'll continue to watch a ton more because that's what I do for fun. So
yeah, that's good. That's good hobby right there. But they got those channels now. There was a Cardinal game. I was all set up to watch it. And it was on Apple TV, I believe it was. I didn't get to watch it. I listened to it on the radio, or kind of looked on internet and just seen what happened. You know, they tell you if it's a ball or strike or where it was pitched. So I kind of missed out on that. So, man, you can't have every channel. You can't see every game. I wish they had some sort of ticket, like a streaming service where you could see the home games. Because if I got the MLB channel, I can't see a lot of the home games for the
But
Cardinals.
if you get the MLB.TV, if you get
TV.
MLB.TV, you can't see Cardinals home or away at all. That's why
Oh,
the Cardinals are the one team I don't see much of. So whenever they are on, like they were on ESPN Sunday night, that was the first chance I've had to see them, and I won't see them again until they're on ESPN again, because that's the only time they're not uh, blacked out.
mm,
Any other streaming service that they're on, they're blacked out when they're, like
oh,
even if they're on like Peacock or something like that, they'll black them out. So, but
it
anyway,
ain't
so
fair.
I did really want to make an effort to watch that game Sunday night so I could, because I don't know when they're going to be back on again. So I'll watch this game. So, excuse me. Anyway, I want to show you something.
All
There's a
right.
story that goes along with this. Last week, my daughter, son-in-law, and grandson had to fly out to, well, had to, they flew out to Los Angeles for a week because my son-in-law's from Los Angeles and they're visiting family and they do a lot of the fun stuff, that they want to do, go to Disneyland and all that other stuff. So I drove them to the airport. And then last Thursday night, I had to pick them up. And my daughter said, the plane gets in at 11:40 p.m. So now my daughter and son-in-law live in Belleville, which is about an hour away from me. So I have because I drive a Spark, I have a Jeep, but it's the check engine light's on, so I'm not wanting to drive it that far. So
Right.
especially pick up my daughter family from the airport, I don't want the Jeep to break down and be stuck there. So what I did was I drove my Spark to Belleville about an hour to pick up their car, then drove their car from Belleville to the airport, which is about another 45 minutes. And then I was going to have to take them home to Belleville, get my Spark, and come home. Okay. So I'm going to be home like early in the morning.
Right.
And those of you who know anything about me is I am an extreme morning person. I I like to be up before the sun's up. I like to have coffee. I like to get things going. I am not a night person at all. And in fact, that's why one of the reasons why I cut down on comedy is because I just don't like the late nights, man. And there's been, JJ can attest to this. There's times you don't get home till 3 in the morning if you got a gig far away. So,
Right.
um, but anyway, I go to the airport and the first thing I do is I check arrivals, and every flight is on time except for two. And of course, one of them is their flight.
Of
So, and
course.
it's not coming in till 12:37. I thought, oh gosh, this is gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
So their plane lands, and by the time they get out, get their luggage and everything, we don't get to the car until a little bit after 1. And by the time I get home, after dropping them off, getting my car, coming back to Peevely, it's about 3 in the morning. So, and there are mornings I get up at 4. So it's like, ah. So anyway, for all my trouble, long story to say this, my daughter and son-in-law got me something while they were in Los Angeles. They whipped this out and showed me this.
Oh, yes. Very cool.
And this shows you what kind of sports fans they are. They said, is this guy any good? I said, well, he was. And then we traded him to the Mets, and he was okay with the Mets. And then he signed a huge contract with the Detroit Tigers, and he's like the worst player in baseball now. But thank you. I do like
Yeah.
the pops.
I
So
like that. I like the Cub hat. Very cool.
yeah, that's really cool. They said, well, that was the only Cub that they had. So that
Okay.
works.
Very cool. That's nice of them to think of you like that.
Yeah, they're pretty thoughtful. Did you have a good Easter?
Yeah, my daughter, Bailey, she cooked and she bought a ham. She really did us up good. She made one of those bunny cakes. I don't know if all y'all of a certain age, every Easter, the grandma or the somebody would make a bunny cake. And it was so, I don't know, it kind of looked like a mutant, but it was very tasty. But yeah, so we just did that and spent time with family, and it was a good time. And I just get ready for baseball. So I visited everybody, and then it was time to wrap it up when it was baseball time.
Well, first of all, I come from a family where Easter's not like a major holiday. I mean, when we were a kid, we would hunt eggs and
Yeah,
eat a chocolate bunny, but nowadays kids get actual gifts like it's some kind of Christmas thing.
you're right.
Anyway, so being my biological kids um, were raised with two households, their mother kind of spoiled them with the uh, pseudo Christmas Easter thing with a lot of gifts. And then they come to my house where, yeah, we're going to eat. That's it. So um, my kids, that morning they went to brunch at their mother's house, and they of course have an adult Easter egg hunt or something. I don't know. Um, and then they get to my house, and I've got the Cub game going, and I'm dressed in my Cub garb. I look completely non-Eastery. And then about 3 o'clock, we went to my mother-in-law's house, who lives right next door, and we ate and everything, and just kind of joked around and had a good time. So the kids get older; it's hard to get them all together. Rebecca still wasn't here because she works at a church in Springfield. She's the piano player for the church, so she
Cool.
can't leave on Sundays. So we didn't have her, but we do have all-inclusive tickets for, I think it's the 6th of May, and all the kids will be able to go, including my son-in-law. So we'll have all the kids there.
That's gonna be
Um,
fun.
yeah, and um, you know, it was quite expensive to get all-inclusive tickets when you have 5 kids, a son-in-law, and a wife. So
That's a big, yeah. You don't get to go to many games when you do all that, but that's going to be great. And I think
yeah,
it starts at an hour and a half before the game, the food and everything, and then up to the seventh inning. So
yeah.
wear your big man pants.
That's all I have is big man pants. So
Yeah. All mine are big man pants too.
so I did like I said, I watched the Cardinal game on Easter Sunday evening. That was pretty cool. Um, anyway, so well, why don't we talk about baseball?
Let's
So,
do it. That sounds good.
did you were you as shocked as me that the Yankees went into Houston and destroyed Houston in a 4-game set, and then the next day, Ronel Blanco, on only his 8th major league start. This is a 30-year-old guy. I mean, this is a guy who has paid his dues, and he is working at a car wash at one time trying to find a job in baseball. In only his 8th major league start, he throws a no-hitter against the Blue Jays. Not an easy lineup to no hit.
That's right.
2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and that's what I miss. I miss the little stories like this that happen all through baseball season. This guy who I'd never heard of. Um, you have a team that has been swept by the Yankees at home, who've got to be like, what the heck is going on? We're supposed to be great. The Yankees come in here and spanked us around, and we've got our 5th starter going tomorrow, and he comes up and he just lifts the whole team and throws a no-hitter. I just thought that was awesome.
I give credit to the Astro. It's a new coach too. He needed to win. He was 0-4, and they get a little restless. You can be 0, you can have a 4-game losing streak in June, but when you come out of the gate at 0-4, people start panicking a little bit. And he didn't take him out of the game either. This guy's let him make history. I think he threw 102 pitches. And another piece of that puzzle is he just had his second child like a week
Yes.
ago. So all this is happening at the same time. And Vince, I kind of lived that game with him. Every pitch, anything that a big play was made, it was like, oh, and he was tapping his glove and looking up at the sky. It's kind of a glorious thing. Good for this guy. He made it history that night, and that's just good. Good piece of baseball, across the board. I loved it too.
Yeah, that was awesome. Um, the Cubs opened with the Rangers, so I got to see a lot of the Rangers this weekend. And Josh Young was mic'd up first game, and kind of a very hyper, energetic kind of guy. Very, very good to be mic'd up. And I knew who he was, but I wasn't like a big fan. I thought I kind of like this guy.
Yeah.
What happens yesterday? He gets hit by a pitch, fractures his wrist, and he's on the IL. So I'm not going to like anybody anymore because I think I cursed him. But the Rangers have this rookie, and we talked about it a little bit off the before we started recording. Wyatt Langford, who played in all the games against the Cubs. He DH'd two of them and played left field in one. But man, he looks like Mike Trout. He's not tall. He's about 6'1", something like that, which is taller than me, but that's not too terribly tall. Just thick all over. And I think it was the second game he legged out a triple. My gosh, this guy is Mike Trout. Because Mike Trout's this big guy who you don't expect to run. And Mike Trout had his years where he's stealing, I don't know, 30, 40 bases. And this guy really does look like the real deal. And he's had very little. He was drafted last year and played, I don't know how high he got it, maybe double A, kind of on the fast track like Matt Shaw's with the Cubs. And then they decided to keep him, and all the players are saying this kid is the best hitter on our team now. Just unreal.
That's amazing. That's a star-studded team too.
Seager's even saying he's the best hitter on our team right now.
Wow.
And so he does look really good. And it was kind of cool to be able to see up front or up close how talented he is. So did you when you watched the Cardinals Dodgers, did anybody on the Dodgers stick out that surprised you?
That surprised me. They had a couple pitchers. I got their names over here. Stone. That kid looked. I mean, like the Dodgers need any more pitching, and they've got Kershaw and Bueller coming, and then the kid that last year was their big phenom kid, Bobby Miller, looks like he's making that next step. And Vince, I'm going to tell you something. The Dodgers are great. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Their good players are really, really good. And I've never seen three MVPs back to back to back in their prime. I remember Morgan, 1980, I think it was Morgan, Rose, and Schmidt. But Rose and Morgan were kind of near the end of their career, and Schmidt was still right there in his prime, but not like this. And then I think that Will Smith, hold the press on him. He may be. I know he's an all-star, but I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer yet. You'll have to put a lot of good years together, but he's a special player too. So, my gosh. And I want to say this too about the Dodgers. Classy organization. When Wynn got his first hit, Freddie Freeman put his arm around him and congratulated him. When he got his first stolen base, the Dodgers gave him second base. I mean, they play tough. They play fair. They're good sportsmen. You want to hate them because of the evil empire, because they built this all-star team and spent all the money in the world, but I admire them. I'm like, golly. And it was almost like we were a really good little league team playing a traveling league team, and we just gave them everything we had, but they were just in every aspect of the game just a little bit, in some aspects a lot better, and some a little bit better. So golly, yeah, those two pitchers though, on top of everybody, Glass now, if he can stay healthy, good night. He
Yeah,
looked phenomenal.
that's always
So
the issue with him. Uh,
yes,
if he's never thrown more than 120 innings, and my goodness, just stag. Teoscar Hernandez had a great series against you guys, and
2 home runs I know of.
no one
Yeah.
even talks about him.
No,
And
and he's a great player. He's a very good player too.
yeah,
My gosh. Vince, I don't know if you remember last week, but I said I'm glad. Okay, we got to play the Dodgers. Let's get it over with. Pull that Band-Aid off quick and get out of there. But if they stay healthy all year, oh, I don't know. It's like fighting the Road Warriors. You might win, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a big challenge for anybody.
you might win, but you're going to need Jim Cornette to hit someone with a tennis racket.
That's right.
We have we played the Rangers. We're playing Colorado right now. We the game's on right now. I turned it off so I wouldn't be distracted. Um, then this weekend we have the Dodgers coming into town. And this month we play. Gosh, it's a gauntlet. I think it's the Padres, Dodgers, Houston, Seattle. It's like
All these
it's just
playoff
like
teams.
last year. The first half of our schedule was so tough, and then the second half it eased up a bit. It looks like this first month is going to be a gauntlet. So if we can hover around that 500 mark, I'll be pretty happy. Um, but yeah, that's like I do not look forward to seeing the Dodgers. My only hope is that it's a very cold weekend and
The ball's not
and
flying out.
yeah, the balls aren't flying out. That's what I hope. So um, this was very strange. Uh, Estuary Ruiz has
Yes.
been demoted to AAA, despite being 3 for 7 through 3 games with a double, a triple, an RBI, and a stolen base. He led the American League in stolen bases last year. I want to tell you something. The Oakland A's are the worst team in baseball, and I don't think it's even close. They are terrible. They don't have a fan base anymore. Um, they it's just a bunch of terrible players that should be in AA, AAA, probably a few maybe should be in single A. And Ruiz, who's a bona fide baseball player, and uh oh the third baseman, there's JD Davis.
Yeah.
Um he's a bona fide player, but they got a lot of garbage on that team. So he's been demoted to AAA, and that makes you ask, why has he been demoted to AAA? Well, I found this in a San Francisco Chronicle, I think, report. There is a fan group in Oakland called Last Dive Bar, and they are organizers of an A's fan protest against the ownership. And this has been going on for about a year now. And um, Ruiz and Rooker, the other guy who's been demoted.
He was their all-star representative last
Yeah,
year too.
yeah. They've been wearing merchandise during the game, like wristbands with Last Dive Bar on them. And Rooker, I think, wasn't even playing. He's just sitting the bench. And but they've been demoted to AAA. And then there was some BS thing. Well, we're trying to,
I
teach him how
saw
to
it.
swing. He's the only decent player you got. Obviously, you're taking this out on this guy because he's mad too. You want to know what that shows me? This guy cares about the Oakland fans more than the Oakland management does. And if I was him, I would be screaming in the papers, I want to trade. I want to trade now. He may not get it, but I would be the biggest thorn in their butt until they got rid of me. I feel sorry for the kid. He seems like a great guy. And if you are going to side with the fans over management, that takes guts or something else. And this smacks of something that would have happened in the 1950s or something. And oh, we are the man. We will put him down by sending him to AAA. I just think that's a terrible thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you said they're not going to play in Oakland this year, and I said I think they are, and there they are in Oakland. And I've heard fans when the owner was walking to his car, his name's Fisher. The fans were yelling, "Rotten hell, Fisher!" yelling at the owner. It reminds me of that movie where it was the Cleveland Indians at the time, and you had Wild Thing in the bullpen, and the
Major
owner
League,
was
yeah.
going, yeah, it's like Major League. They were just going to sell the team, and the team was like, we're going to show them, and the fans rallied around these players and not and ownership. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I can't. Yeah, I can't believe they sent those guys down there. And nothing against the players. These guys want to be in the major leagues. A lot of them wouldn't be in the major leagues on most other teams. And you have a few. They got that pitcher too. You mentioned last year. They've got a stud pitcher, ace, on their team. But
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah. They called him up last year and he
he's
pitched against
phenomenal.
really good.
Yes. And I love it. What a proud, great organization. The Philadelphia A's, all those years with Connie Mack. Then they went to Kansas City and it was, I don't know what happened there. It didn't work. And then they went out to Oakland and all the Charlie Finley teams, although he wasn't a great owner either. He was just kind of a wild man, had some ideas, but he broke that team up that could have been good for a long, long time. And then you had Billy Martin there with Billy Ball. All these great players have come through there, and then to kind of end like this, it's sad. It's really sad. And I baseball doesn't just pick up teams and move like other sports, but the this is almost one of those things. It just has to. I know Vegas is wanting them to come or somebody, and the best thing to do is move because it's just such a bad marriage between the team and the fan base there, the owners and the fan base, not the team. So I love the colors. I hope when they do go somewhere else, they keep the colors and the history and pay homage to the history of the A's. But yeah, it's just a sad situation, Vince. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, the uh the Vegas people aren't too thrilled they're getting the A's. They would rather have an expansion team
Well, that's even
because
sadder.
they're going to have A's ownership coming over there, and they don't want that. Um, if you're not going to be invested in baseball, and there are owners that are just in it for the money, and that just kind of agitates me. If I wanted to own a baseball team, it'd be to win. I want to win. I don't want to be last place. I want to win. I'm going to try to do everything I can to win. They would have sold the team to a group in Oakland. I think that would have been their best avenue. And then maybe they could have done a partnership with ownership in the city, ownership in the area, and built a 35,000 seat stadium right there in Oakland. And because you're in Oakland, you don't have to have a dome stadium. You don't have to go, you know, too expensive on it. Just a decent park to keep that team there and re-energize that fan base. Because when they've been competitive, they've drawn. They,
Yeah.
they have no problem drawing. If the Cubs were run like this, and there are years I feel like the Cubs, gosh, why are they big? Especially during the Tribune years. Um, I I I would boycott it. Um, and I'm not talking about just this year when they're moving. I'm talking about in previous years when you have so many great players, and as soon as they get to a year or two from free agency, I'm going to trade him. I'm going to trade him. And I Billy Bean's system worked back when he was the only one who figured it out and did it. Then
Yeah.
they wrote a book and made a movie. Now everybody's doing it. So Billy Bean is nothing special anymore. So I just wish they would have done a different avenue with that. Let
I,
Vegas have an expansion team or something else, and keep that team there, and let those fans have their team. I've never been to Oakland or San Francisco, but from what I understand, there's a big difference culturally between Oakland and San Francisco. San Francisco is the rich, snobbish, very successful type people, and across the bay, Oakland is a working class type of area. And so you got two different fan bases. So that, well, the Oakland fans could always go to the Giants games. Do they want to? Do they want to pay those prices to go to a Giants game where you're really not fitting in a whole lot there? I don't think so. It's just kind of leaving that fan base in a lurch. And I have watched a lot of Oakland games, even when they've been poor, even when they've drawn poorly, those fans are still rabid.
Oh
They
yeah.
they go to a game and have fun. And let's see if they have that kind of fan supporting in another city where if they're on their way to lose 90 games, you're still going to have 12,000 people in the stands with drums and chants and everything else. That's what I'm going to miss about Oakland.
79, I went out there and saw an Oakland game and a Giant game, and it reminds me of a lot of Chicago, where you got the Cubs side of town and the White Sox side of town. It kind of reminds me of that. You got all the great restaurants over one side and the things to do, and then you got the other side where it's just kind of industrial looking, and homes. That's kind of it.
Yeah. Uh, I was watching the Mets play the Brewers, and Reese Hoskins slides into Jeff O'Neill.
Yes.
He slid late, but it was a legal slide. But Hoskins is like a fire plug. He's a big, thick guy. And he kind of twisted O'Neill's ankle. O'Neill was okay. But O'Neill immediately starts yelling at him. I mean, immediately. Hoskins is right there on the base, and O'Neill gets up and he's giving it to him. Hoskins jogs off the field, doesn't say a thing. And then when his team comes out, then suddenly he turns around and he's doing the crybaby thing and everything. I'm thinking, all right, it was a legal slide. I don't care. But if you are on my team and someone is chirping at you about something you did and you don't answer, you don't fight your own battle, as my mom would say, you run or jogging off the field, then your team comes in and then you turn around or from the dugout start doing the crybaby thing. You're bigger than O'Neill. Stand up and face him like a man. So, and I was on a baseball group, and I said, as a Cub fan, I am so happy we don't have this guy because I'll give you, it's a legal slide.
Yeah.
By definition, I don't have a problem with the slide. I have a problem with how cowardly he was when he ran off the field and let his teammates come and get between him and O'Neill. What'd you think of that?
I'm with you 100%. I thought it was a fair slide. You're supposed to break up the double play in a fair manner. He didn't go past the bag. He was actually laying on the bag. It reminded me of Jose Batista and Odor, where Odor popped him one right there, or the Tim Anderson and I forgot who swung and nailed him there, but it reminded me of that. And all of a sudden here comes the dugouts and the benches and everything, and he's like saying, "Hey, everything. What? I'm sorry." And then once he got in the dugout, you're right, he started chirping, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" And the next day they threw behind him. They didn't hit him, but they let him know. Now I heard that when Hoskins was a member of the Phillies, and the Phillies and the Mets had some bad blood, and he was in the middle of that. I don't know, but people remember that kind of stuff, and I'm sure the Brewer fans are happy. Oh, we got Reese Hoskins, and man, we love that guy. But as a third-party person, yeah, I want somebody who just either it's no problem or it's a problem, and if it's a problem, do something out there on the field. Don't come back here with 23 guys in front of you and then act like you want to get in a fight or something like that.
I'm telling you, if I'm his teammate and I come running out there to risk my neck for this guy, and I turn around and I see him in the down, get the hell out here.
Yeah,
You're one of the elements. There are two elements in here, you and him. Get out here.
right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
well, your man, Tyler O'Neill, has hit 5 straight opening day home runs. Yeah, so he should be disabled any day now.
Ain't that true? The guy can't stay healthy. What a specimen. He's fast. He's got a great arm. He can catch. He strikes out too much. But man, and he ought to be perfect out there in Boston. I wish
Yeah.
him health, and I hope he has a great year. I really do. Tyler O'Neill he gave everything, and I don't like the way it ended here in St. Louis with that crazy year last year, but I wish him all the best in Boston. Good for him. That's an all-time record. He stands alone. He's in the record books. So good for Tyler O'Neill. That's fantastic.
Very good. There are 4 undefeated teams left, and
Who
the sad news for us is 2 of them are in our division. Pirates 5-0, Milwaukee 4-0, the Yankees 5-0, Detroit 4-0. And looking for the first win are the Mets, the Marlins, and the White Sox. So,
man, that's pretty good. Vince, we have something great going on. I don't know if anybody contacted you, but with our first fantasy league we have going on, there is so much talk and people. This morning, uh, Candy Burks, I work with her. She's the only female in our fantasy league. I hear a car beeping and the window's down, and she goes, "The Angels have won 2 in a row." And her son, who never watched an Angel game, are like, "What the Angels do tonight?" And she's involved with her son, and they're watching the games. And Mike Trout hit 2 home runs, and one was completely hit the top of the Florida ballpark and went out. And she's a big Mike Trout fan who I don't think a month ago she knew who Mike Trout was. So I'm going to give her a couple baseball cards when I see her. We've got all kinds of people talking and sending messages. And Dan Rutledge is the White Sox, and they're 0-4. And if you give me just a moment, I will go over where our fantasy league stands right now. I will start with the National League. And here are the standings. I'll read them off first and then show them to you. The Pirates are 5-0, and that's Dennis Rose, who has everybody but one person has been on this show or wrote in or something like that. But Dennis Rose, Vietnam vet, love him to death. He's the oldest participant in our fantasy league. He's 5-0. The Cubs, Larry Wildy, is in second place at 2-2. Then you got the Cardinals. Kevin Lee, who was on last week, is 2-3. The Padres, 3-4 with Robbie Spear. The Nationals 1-3 with Tom Majay, who always sponsors my baseball card moment. And the Rockies are 1-4, Brandon Schmidt up in Cincinnati. So there are the standings, and the people that are the owners of those teams right there. And they're out there talking smack and all that going on. I absolutely love it because I never know what they're going to say, or, man, I really took it to so-and-so. And sometimes in the fantasy league, they play each other, which even makes it more exciting. Then the American League, Tony Pruno. Like, this guy's got everything anyway. He's got the looks. He's got the baseball room. He's got everything. He's the Tigers, Tony Tiger, 4-0. The Red Sox, Ray Hartman, 3-2, tied with the Seattle Mariners, which is Andrew Gieselman. If you remember, he's the beer man at Busch Stadium. The Angels, Candy and her son, 2-2. We got the Royals, Brody Jackson. He don't know what he's doing. 1-3. And the White Sox, Dan Rutledge, our only team that has not won a game, is 0-4. So there are those teams and their records so far. And it's going to be good. If we ended the season right, remember, we're going to go to the end of August. The top team in each meet the World Series. That's going to be kind of fun. And right now it would be the Pirates and the Tigers. Tony versus Dennis. Oh, that'd be great. So I thought I'd just give a little heads up on our fantasy league. And every week I'll do a little segment like that and tell everybody what's going on with them.
we should do, tax season is winding down for my family. Um, I guess, would we have 12 days left? Um, we should maybe celebrate the beginning of baseball, and just kind of put it off for a few months by maybe having one of those nice evenings where we enjoy a nice hot dog and watch some baseball and Tony's Nerd Cave.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. He
Not
would let us do we could do our
Sunday.
show from there. We could do our show from the Nerd Cave. Oh,
So,
yeah.
so
I've seen him in a while. He's got new stuff. I know he's got new stuff in there.
I borrowed a book from him when we were out there watching the World Series game, and I'm the kind of person, it gets into my head. I have to return this. I have to return this, but I'm thinking, my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get out there till May or something. So I think I finally gave the book to you, didn't I? Or did I
Yes,
make?
and a shirt for him. And I
Yeah,
took
yeah,
both of them over there and talked to his wife. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, uh,
You're
but
good
yeah.
people. That's because you're a good person. You want to return everything.
Oh, yeah. I'm just, yeah. So great book too, by the way. So what's going on in Cardinal news?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, the Dodgers. And I tell you what, I said if we won one game in LA, I'd be ecstatic because that's a stacked lineup. And we won one game. We got blown out in game one. Tyler Glasnow just owned us, and that team just lit us up. And I'm gonna tell you what, when it seems like every other inning, it seems like here comes that's Otani Freeman. It's like they come up all the time. You might tiptoe your way through there, but they're going to get you. In that first game, they lit us up. I think they had 7 hits between the three of them, and Will Smith kicked their butt too. 7-1, nothing looked
Fresh
good. And I'm telling
breath.
you what, everybody was chirping on these talk shows on the radio, like, the Cardinals stink, they're no good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, calm
Or
down, people.
sweet. Come
Yeah,
on.
and it's the Dodgers. It's not a regular team. This is the Dodgers. Well, we lost. We played a little bit better. We scored late, and it was 6-3. And we played that pitcher in the second game was I got it written here, Bobby Miller, and that he looked fantastic. They didn't lose anything from Glasnow to Miller. Their bullpen looks good, and we lost 6-3, but we scored some late runs. We didn't hit a lick in the first game. We had a home run. Goldie got all the hits in the first game. In the second game, I was up in Devernon, Illinois, doing a show, and there was a rain delay, so I got to listen to the game all the way home. And I tell you what, my stomach was churning every time we did a punch. They counter punched. It was such a good game. There was chances we weren't going to get it. We played some great defense, some timely hitting, and maybe Joe Kelly threw us an olive branch there. I don't know. Joe didn't have it. He was the only pitcher that's pitched the whole weekend that didn't really have a good outing. He had a terrible outing, but we took it to him and won in extra innings. And I'm going to tell you something. This this kid Victor Scott II, which we talked about way back when we did the minor leagues, and his speed, and he made the team because Lars and Edmonds out. He was on second base. He made the last out of the ninth inning when we went to extra innings. He's on second. It was 2 routine ground balls, and he moved to third and came home. And that was it. And the bullpen held them. And I think they had bases loaded, and Otani popped up. And we barely won that game, but we were so happy. We're 1-2. And then Sunday we thought we had him. We had him on the ropes. And Max Muncy, of all
Hmm.
people, hit a big blast and beat us. But I tell you what, getting out of there 1-3, now we can I don't know about you, but my cheeks were tight. I was tense, and we could finally relax. And now we get to the rest of the teams because, oh, go ahead.
As I say, really quick, possibly, maybe, probably you're 0 and 4 if it isn't for Victor Scott. And that's why I'm saying he's a different element. Nobody else on the team is going to score those runs. Very few players in the league, maybe two or three others are going to score that run.
Right.
So he's already gotten you a victory you probably wouldn't have had.
And he got an infield. I think some of the plays they hurried. If it was, say, well, Yachty, but if it was anybody else, they could adjust, set, and throw. But they're trying to make barehanded grabs. Mookie Betts made quite a few errors at shortstop. And one was against Victor, and he tried to barehand it, and he threw it in the dirt, and Victor legged it out and got his first stolen base. Got a couple of hits. Um, he's not his batting average isn't real high yet, but he goes up there, he takes good at bats. He seems pretty mature for a young player. And I'm taking in those 4 games, I was taking with our defense. I think some of the players that we thought might be a little bit of a liability have really improved. Alec Burleson threw a guy out at the plate. He's looking good. He's lost some weight. He's always been a good hitter. Um, Contreras, I think he's improved greatly from last year. He's framing better. A lot of balls in the dirt. He was digging them out. He looked fantastic. And Ivan Herrera, my goodness, I think he's ready. And of course, you got Arenado and Goldie, but I'm telling you what, on ESPN they were really talking about Win at short. He has that cannon, and
Oh
Gorm.
gosh, yeah. I did see his arm. It's like, wow, that is Dunston.
Yes, I was going to say that very thing. Shades of Sean Dunston is my favorite Cub, and I think Gorman has gotten better at pulling that double play. A year more of learning that position, which he's a natural third baseman, and he's gotten better. I'm not saying Gold Glove caliber, but much better. He's made some dynamic plays out there. And then, of course, our outfield has looked, I think, pretty darn good. Jordan Walker, if you saw the game last night, made a diving catch in the alley yesterday. He wouldn't have made that play last year. So he's coming along. So the defense is coming along. More team speed. Wynn has stolen the base too, besides Victor. And the team. So then we got to play San Diego, and we had a good game last night. And Cal Gibson, 7 innings, 2 runs on 2 solo blasts, and he gave up 4 hits. And I tell you what, it was pretty good. Now Helsley didn't look good his first appearance in the bullpen, but it was against the Dodgers. And this yesterday against the San Diego Padres did much, much better. But I'm very happy. But this Dodger team, before I go any further, a team that has this three-headed monster. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. We talked about the 80 Phillies with Rose, Morgan, and Schmidt, and they won a World Series, and all three of those guys, all Hall of Famers, but at that point, Rose and Morgan were kind of elder statesmen of the game. The 27 Yankees, they actually had 4 Hall of Famers in their lineup. Earl Combs, the leadoff man, who was a center fielder. Babe Ruth was batting third. Some guy named Lou Gehrig was batting fourth, and Tony Lazaria, the second baseman, was batting sixth. And you just couldn't get through that lineup. And then the 53 Dodgers, which I looked at that lineup too. And they had Jim Gillum, who later was a coach, leadoff man. But then you get, it went from Pee Wee Reese, Duke Schneider, Jackie Robinson, Gil Hodges, the catcher, Cabrera. I can't think of his name, but he's a Hall of Famer too. And yes, just a fantastic lineup. And I think this lineup is one of the best I've ever seen, and a classy organization. They just play hard, and they're talking to the other players on the bases. They've got a confidence I don't see in many teams, just top to bottom, all of them chip in. And Dave Roberts has these players that would probably be a star on any other team, platooning and buying into this. This is a special team. If they stay healthy, good night. Look out.
Yeah,
So
the thing about the Dodgers, their Achilles heel is defensively, they're not a great team. Muncie's a butcher at third, and just not a third baseman. But we're nine. They want his bat in the lineup. Freeman's a good player, defensive player.
Will Smith.
Betts is going to have to learn how to play shortstop, and Gavin Lux, as long as he can throw, he's going to be okay. But defensively, they can create some problems for themselves.
Yeah. If you stay close, but man, that team, every other inning, you got those three-headed monster coming up. It's gonna be really, really tough. Also, we had a guy get hurt. A lot of injuries already in baseball, but we had a young kid who's feel bad for him. He's been on 3 different organizations and only had 3 appearances in baseball. Riley O'Brien, who looked really good in spring training, is already on the 15-day IR, and there's no structural damage to his arm, but they're just not taking any chances. Set him down and brought up John King, who was on the team last year from AAA. And Lars Newbar is about to start rehab assignment, and so we hope he gets back fast. And Vince, that's kind of it. The Cardinals are 1 and what are we now? 2-3. We're 2-3, and we got 2 more games against the Padres, and we finally get to come home. They got a day off, and they come home against the Florida Marlins. So that's what the rest of the week looks like this week.
Very good. Well, the Cubs, we started with a 3-game series in Texas, and my hope was that they would. I'd be happy if they won 1 game. I'd be ecstatic if they won 2. If they won 3, I would be over the moon. First game of the season, we threw out Justin Steele, and they've got Nathan Eovaldi going. And we're hitting him pretty good in the early innings, but we're not getting any luck. And Steele is pitching a heck of a game. And then in the 4th inning, he goes to field a bunt and kind of has to toss the ball, got the guy out. And then he falls down, he's grabbing his hammy. Yeah, so he's got a strained hamstring. So he's probably going to be out till probably May. Um, and he was pitching a great game against I think 4 2/3 innings, 1 run against a great lineup. But we did end up taking this game into extra innings. We could have won. There was a couple of times Nick Madrigal, of all people, with a runner on base, hit a ground rule double that the runners would have easily scored if the ball wouldn't have bounced over the fence. So we had that. Christopher Morel, who'd already hit a rocket of a triple off the wall, um, he missed a grand slam by inches. I mean, it was inches. He's looking so good. Um, so anyway, the game is 3-3 going into extras, or the game is 3-2 in the ninth, and we have Alzolay in to close it. And they send up Travis Janikowski to pinch hit in the ninth. And I looked at Max and I said, this guy always kills us. He hit a home run, game tying home run in the bottom of the ninth off Alzolay. Like, what is it with this guy? He hits nobody but us. Nobody but us. I like the guy. I wish he was on our team so he would quit hitting us. But everywhere he's went, he has just hit the Cubs. And he doesn't have power, but yeah, took him deep. And then in the 10th inning, we had Smiley in, so that was a guaranteed loss. And of course, they scored a run and won 4-3. But I was happy. We were competitive. Steele looked good while he was in there. Luke Little came in and had a shutdown inning. And I think that was about the fifth or sixth. And I kind of see him as the year goes. If he keeps doing this, you're going to put him in higher leverage situations. And that's the problem with Alzolay. He's a good closer, but he's not that. He doesn't have that dominating fastball that he can rely on to throw past somebody. His fastball sits about 95, 96. So Janikowski got him. So we started the year 0-1, but no issues because we do have Kyle Hendricks going next. Yeah, let me get to my notes here.
What'd you think of Council? Seeing Council over there in that Cub uniform, running the show.
There are a few things that are different with Council. Number one, Ian Happ against right-handers is batting leadoff. Ian Happ should be batting leadoff. He has the highest on-base percentage on our team. He sees a lot of pitches. He doesn't have that 30 home run swing that he used to have because he was striking out a lot. So he has become more of a line drive hitter, 280 hitter with a high on base percentage. He still popped 20 home runs last year. He's just not what they thought he would be with hitting a lot of home runs because he retooled his swing because he needed to. So against right-handers, he's batting leadoff. This is the difference between Council and Ross. Last year, people would bring up to Ross, why don't you hit Hap leadoff? And he had said, well, he doesn't like hitting leadoff. Council apparently said, hey, I'm sure he didn't say you're getting your butt out there leadoff, but I'm sure set him down, said, for the good of the team, when we're facing a right-hander, you need to be hitting leadoff because you see a lot of pitches. You've got some pop right off top, which is really good. And you get your walks. He walked 99 times last year, and Hap has bought into it. So that's one of the big differences. Another big difference is being we had Steele going, who's a left-hander who gets a lot of ground ball outs. Instead of putting Morel at third, we started Madrigal in the first game at third, who's a much better defender, and Morel DH'd. Now this second game with Hendricks pitching, who's a right-hander who gets a lot of weak contact. They put Morel at third for that game because you don't get a whole lot of hot shots at third base when Hendricks is pitching because he's a right-hander, so on and so forth. Throws that change up. So there's a lot of subtle differences that I can see. The only move that he did make is I didn't like Smiley pitching the 10th inning because Smiley, you got a guy runner on second, it's already tied. Smiley does not have anything that's swing and miss stuff. And so all you need is two ground ball, run the guy third, contact play, get him home, and it's pretty much that
Game's over.
easy.
Yeah.
But anyway, against Hendricks, the Rangers decided to tee off. Even though Dansby Swanson did a 2-run home run early in the game, we lost 11-2. So not one of our finer moments
It
in
happens to
Cubs.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but uh, Corey Bradford pitched for the um, Rangers, and I thought we could get to him pretty good, but Hendricks just didn't have his stuff. So the rubber game or the final game, we're starting the season 0-2. We're playing um and we win 9-5. It's 5-5. This is on Easter, getting late into the game, and then we scored 4 in the ninth. We win. Tremendous game. Wicks started and he pitched really well. Ian Happ had 4 hits, batting in the leadoff spot. Seiya Suzuki a couple of hits. Morel hit a home run, a 3-run shot early in the game. Miguel Amaya caught, had a couple of hits. So we had a lot of offense for that game. And pitching wise, Wicks went 4 innings, gave up a couple of runs, and then the bullpen just came in and just shut everybody down. And so we left Texas 1-2. So I was pretty happy with that.
Pretty good.
And then yesterday, our home opener, we played the Rockies. We won 5-0. Shota Imanaga, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, only 2 hits. Everything that we could have hoped for and more. It was Christopher Morel. It was zeros, and I think it was the 6th inning. With a couple guys on, Morel's up the bat, and he gets a hit, and the left fielder goes to field the ball, comes up the throw, and then he realizes, oh, I forgot to get the ball. The ball rolls all the way to the fence, and this is what I love about Morel. He was sprinting the whole time. He didn't take it for granted that, oh well, I got a single, so he's running, and he sees it go under his glove, and he keeps running until he goes home. So he had a little league home run. Then the first game, when he hit the triple off the wall, would have been a double for most other players, but for him, he was sprinting out of the box, and when the ball hit the wall, realized it's not out. I'm keeping going, so he got the triple. So very impressed with Morel. Not impressed with his defense. He's already made 2 errors this year in 3 games in the field. So yeah, that's kind of like, but we'll see how that all pans out. But very, very excited about Imanaga having such a good game. And he's a lot of the Japanese pitchers are kind of stoic on the mound. Oh gosh, no, he is animated, and he has no problem looking into the dugout and giving the umpire a stare if he doesn't get a call.
Oh,
He's
hey.
a he's a very competitive cat out there. As far as injuries go, Tyone looks like he's going to be coming back soon. He's in AAA doing his rehab starts, so we're going to be getting him back, which is good because we didn't need 2/3 of our or 2/5 of our rotation down at the same time. So we did call up Ben Brown, and he pitched
Yeah.
in that 11-2 game that we lost, and he looked okay. He was the victim of some not so great fielding from Morel, and he kind of ate an inning and gave up a lot of runs, but still looked okay. And he may be starting tomorrow because tomorrow starting has yet to be determined. And I don't know who else they're going to put out there. So I think he may be getting to start tomorrow. But he's the guy who, he kind of reminds me of Wayne Wright, great curveball, fastball, tall, lanky guy coming over the top. In yesterday's home opener, Ryan Sandberg, who was going through chemotherapy throughout the first pitch. So that was pretty cool. So,
Yeah. Love
um,
Rhino.
yeah, just happy the baseball season is back.
Amen.
You know
Yeah.
who else is happy the baseball season is back?
Oh, he's always happy, but because it's baseball season, Jeremy Connor is on fire.
Jeremy Connor. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. All right, Jeremy, we are so happy we brought baseball back for you. You can thank us because we take entirely all the credit for that. Being it was opening day, JJ and I, we decided we were going to talk about our 5 favorite opening day memories. And I have 5.
I got 5. I got 5.
Look at this. You want to go first?
Sure. I took this as just historic and things to remember. And even though I wasn't around, I even have a couple older ones that were just so memorable, and I've read about them. And the first one, I'm going all the way back to 1940, before World War II, before the United States got involved in World War II, April 16th, the first opening day no-hitter. Bob Feller, 21 years old, was a member of the then Cleveland Indians against the Chicago White Sox in Kaminsky Park. Feller, they say there's only been like 3 game-changing fastballs in the history of baseball that people just were like in awe of. And Walter Johnson was one, Bob Feller's the other one, and Nolan Ryan is the third. So one day maybe we'll get that 4th guy coming up that'll just take it to the next level.
I bet Aroldis Chapman in there too.
Well, he's a reliever. That's like 1 inning of all-out stuff. But yes, okay, I'll give you that. But for a starting pitcher to do it for 9 innings, because sometimes Nolan would be even throwing harder in the 9th inning than they did in the 1st inning, which is freakish. I don't know how he did that, but my gosh. And Bob Feller was one of those guys too. Famous thing where he threw against the police on the motorcycle, and it broke the paper before the motorcycle rider did at 100 miles an hour. Anyway, Bob Feller threw a no-hitter, and he had 8 strikeouts. It was a 40-degree day, and it was the first of Bob Feller's 3 no-hitters, and he had 12 one-hitters. And the reason I mentioned that is, and I wrote this before the Astro pitcher had his no-hitter. Usually, it's cold and pitchers haven't warmed up and gone 9 innings. That's why it was amazing. This young kid went 9 innings, and they in spring training they probably worked him to 5 or 6 innings max. So I just remember that, and this is the greatest answer to any baseball trivia question I've ever been given. When I was around 20 years old, they said, who threw a no-hitter, but none of the batting averages went down? And I missed the answer. It's Bob Feller's opening day. Everybody was batting 0-0-0. And Bob Feller did this, and no batting averages changed. So if you ever get that question on a trivia contest, it's the 1940 April 16th Bob Feller opening day no-hitter. So that's one of mine.
Okay. My first one I'm going to talk about happened on April 5th, 1979. And the Mets played the Cubs in Wrigley. Why is this a special day for me? Because it was the first year we had cable, and it was the first time I ever watched a Cub game on cable that wasn't at my friend's house. And there was no way I couldn't like go over there every day. Can I watch your kid? So, it was just special. I faked being sick. So my mom probably realized what was going on, but I faked being sick. So I stayed home and I watched the Cubs on opening day. We lost 10-6 to the Mets. For the Mets, listen to some of these names. Richie Hebner hit a 2-run home run. Lee Mazzilli was their leadoff hitter. John Stearns was their cleanup hitter. Willie Montanez played third base.
Oh, yeah.
And we faced Craig Swan, who one year won an ERA title.
I remember Craig Swan, yeah.
And we pitched Rick Russell, and Big Rick didn't have it that day. We lost 10-2. But what I do remember is this was the the first day that I saw Kingman in that 79 season. He had 48 home runs. He hit a fly ball that just kind of landed in the basket for a home run. But we did lose. We did lose 10-6, and I stayed home all day long and I watched it, and we may as well have won 10-6. I was just so excited to see the Chicago Cubs on my very own TV.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, my number four, again, this is I was alive, but I didn't actually see this, was 1967 opening day, and Bob Gibson. And Bob Gibson already had made a name for himself, but in 1967 he became a legend. And it was opening day, and we're playing the San Francisco Giants, and Bob became Bob Gibson. This is when he was so good, him and Koufax that year, they had to lower the mounds. It was just unfair. He went 9 innings. This is Bob Gibson for you. 9 innings, 5 hits, 13 Ks, no walks, no runs. And this is no junior league team. This is Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Jesus Alou. Uh, what a team. And he took it to him, and 6-0. And the legend of Bob Gibson, if he already wasn't a legend, this put him known all around the league. And that year he was just unbeatable. And the Cardinals go on that year, a sign of things to come. And we beat the Boston Red Sox in the World Series that year. So pretty cool.
Mm. Well, my next memory happened April 5th, 1982, and the Cubs are playing Cincinnati. Back in those days, Cincinnati always played the first game. That was it. So it was a big deal for Cincinnati. They had a big parade, big party thing. It was a tradition there that we no longer have because of television. But anyway, the Cubs go there and they play Cincinnati. And once more, I'm a sophomore in high school. What do? I act like I'm sick so I can watch the Cubs. We beat the Reds 3-2 that day. But what I remember leading off for the Cubs, the second baseman that we got from the Texas Rangers, Bump Wills, son of Maury Wills. And Bump Wills hit a home run, first at bat, leading off the game. It just nicked the top of the wall and went over because the little guy didn't have a whole lot of power. We win 3-2, and listen to some of these names. We have Buckner at first, who got 3 hits. Sandberg is playing in his first game with the Cubs. He is playing third base, and he is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Ty Waller is our center fielder, and Doug Bird is the starting pitcher. And this is who came in the 8th inning, Lee Arthur Smith. And then in the 9th inning, Willie Hernandez came to close out the game. And the funny thing about it was that Bump Wills, that was his highlight. We found out he could not field at all. And I don't remember who the Cub executive was at the time, the general manager. He actually made this statement to the press like 2 months into the season. I didn't know Bump Wills couldn't field.
Oh,
Traded
man.
for it. You should have known this.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was in Japan the next year. So that's my next
I'll
my
be
second.
darned. Well, the next three, 2, and 1, I did actually see, and I have such great memories of them for different reasons. And I think I have 1999. It was the year that McGuire was on the team, and I always heard he was just a giant. I mean, even his fly balls and his foul balls was exciting. People would show up just to watch him take batting practice, and I couldn't believe we got him. I mean, he was such a star with Oakland, and his Oakland team was sort of getting rid of pieces of it. La Russa comes over here. We get McGuire, and the rest is history. The Sammy Sosa. Again, another piece of the puzzle between the Cardinals and the Cubs. Sosa and McGuire and that great race. But on this day, he hits a grand slam off of Ramon Martinez. He finished with 70 that year, and the Cardinals win 6-0. And the team wasn't I don't even think I think we were a little below average. We were just kind of an average team. But it was the Mark McGuire show, and you would hear Guns N' Roses, and the crowd would go nuts, and he just lit the place up. And that whole year was something else. Now, I guess I was just naive. I thought he just worked out, got big and strong, and all these years of being a really good player, it all kind of culminated in this incredible season. But little did I know what was going on behind the scenes. So I was fooled just like everybody else. And these guys were just hitting home runs like I've never seen before. Not just McGuire and Sosa, but there was Brady Anderson who might have only hit like 22 home runs. I think he hit 50 home runs that year. So that's a big part of baseball history, and I'll be honest, I enjoyed the home runs, and it was amazing to see at the time. But now we've gotten back to how I think it should be. So anyway,
Yeah,
that's my third memory.
I think fans of our ilk were easily
Oh yeah,
duped because we're such baseball fans, are kind of romanticizing about the game as it is pure and that everything's on the up and up and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I just thought guys were getting bigger and stronger because they were working out more, and you know, people are just getting taller, the last 100 years because we have better nutrition. And so I just thought it was kind of that thing. Um, but I did, this is kind of when I soured going to live games, and it's still kind of like this to a degree. Um, I started I started going to games when the Cardinals got McGuire, and I started noticing there are a lot of people that really don't care about the score. If he has a home run, that's fine. If his last at bat was in the seventh inning, no matter what the score, people were suddenly leaving. People weren't paying attention to the game. It just became completely different to go to a game, and I just quit going to a lot of games. I'll still go to a game every now and then. Um, but it used to be, I tried to make it to 10, 15 games a year. And then it just kind of like, because it used to be I could just turn to the guy next to me and talk baseball,
yeah.
and, it'd be intelligent. And now I'm turning to the guy next to me. Oh, I missed it. What did so and so do? I don't know. He's on first base now. uh,
I know what you're speaking of. I do know that. Yeah, that's true.
and I think people who listen to this podcast know what I'm talking about. And
Oh
have the
yeah,
fans here.
definitely.
My third opening day memory is April 3rd, 1984. We are opening up in San Francisco. I did not know that we were going to go to the playoffs this year. Why should I ever know? Because we hadn't done postseason baseball ever in my lifetime. So, but what I remember, we play in San Francisco. The game starts about 3:30. So I go to school. I'm a senior in high school. I come home and I make it home in time to watch the game. I turn on the game, and there's Huey Lewis and the News, who were probably the biggest rock band at the time, singing the Star Spangled Banner in San Francisco. And for some reason, I thought, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because back in those days, you didn't see rock or pop or country people doing the national anthem. Is usually, oh, here's the boys choir from uh, St. Jude's Mission or something like that, or here's Robert Smith, a trumpet player,
Right.
and there's Huey Lewis in the News doing it. Now you've had like Metallica do San Francisco. They do it great there. They always have,
Oh
you know,
yeah. Grateful Dead.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was so cool. But I watched the game. The Cubs won 5-3, and this is the beginning of the first game of the daily double. Dernier leads off, goes 1 for 4. Sandberg batting second, 1 for 5. Gary Matthews, Ron Say, Keith Moreland hit a home run that day. Our starting pitcher was Dick Ruthven, who didn't even
Oh
finish
yeah.
the year on the roster, wasn't even a part of that great pitching staff we had. He pitched into the eighth inning and gave up 2 runs. Lee Smith came in and got the save, and we beat the Giants. And I remember Jack Clark being a right fielder for the Giants.
Yeah.
but I always think of him being a first baseman because he played first base for the Cards. So I was looking at the box score. Jack Clark is still in right field the year before he gets traded to the Cardinals. Did you can you guess who played first base? I'll give you a hint. Tony Pruno thinks he should be in the Hall of Fame. I didn't even remember he played for the Giants. Al
Hmm.
Oliver. Do you remember him playing for the
Al
Giants?
Oliver? No, I do not. I remember him as a Texas Ranger, but
Yeah,
not a San Francisco Giant. How about
apparently
that?
played for
Pittsburgh
the
Pirate. He was a big Pirate player too. Yeah,
Pirates, Expos. Yeah. So that's my third one.
I would have known that one. Well, this game I saw on TV, and I'm gonna be honest with you. When it happened, I knew something was special was going on. It's opening day 2001. We had heard all spring about this kid, Albert Pujols, that was just lighting it up. And every week, every time they'd send another group down to the minors to start the season, we thought, is Albert going to stick on the team? And he was hitting so well, they couldn't send him down. It got to the final week, and it looked like Albert was going to go to AAA. That happened so like this year, Jackson Holiday, who, by the way, went to the minors and hit a home run the first game. So this kid's ready. Albert Pujols looks so good, but there really wasn't a spot on the team for him, but he was just knocking the cover off the ball. And Bobby Bonilla gets hurt right at the end of spring training, which happens to a lot of teams, and he gets that opportunity. It's like the Wally Pitt and Lou Gehrig thing. He makes a team, and we never look back. And when he came on the team, he just looked so. I mean, even though he was so, I don't. There's always been a story about how old he actually is, and if he had that year, and we think he's 41 or 42, and he was 46, that's even more amazing of what he was doing. But he just looked so accomplished, and it just looked like a different kind of player. And as a Cardinal fan, I was so proud because we had Ozzie and, we've had Ted Simmons, but I look around the league and, you see Mike Trout and there's Ohtani and, these players. We never had the player. And here was a guy who looked special. And I think that 2001, from that year and Tony La Russa, we were kind of building something special that kind of stuck around for a long time. We had some ups and downs, but the downs weren't too far in between there. And Albert was it was like a new chapter of a new part of Cardinal history. And that game we were playing the Rockies, and he went 1 for 3. But even when he made it out, it was entertaining and watching him attack. It's like he set up the pitcher sometimes. Like he knew and oh, it was so much fun. I remember Jack Buck, who I love dearly, said, uh, trying to sneak a fastball past Albert Pujols is like trying to get the sunshine past a rooster. You just can't do it. He'll get a hold of it. So, my gosh, that first season he was rookie of the year. It was April 2nd, 2001. And I'll just never forget that. It was such a great time. Those 11 years, I've never seen anything like that in my lifetime. So thanks, Albert Pujols. So that's my number 2 memory right there.
Well, my number two memory is something that I will never see in my lifetime again. I am
Oh,
confident of that because
I
it
know.
happened on April 4th in 1994. There used to be this little radio station out of Highland, Illinois. It didn't have much power, but for some reason they would broadcast the Cub games. So um, I was in a church in Belleville, and I was sitting in my office, and I turned on opening day, and the Cubs are playing the Mets. Now we lost 12-8, but we had Carl Tuffy Rhodes playing that game, going against Dwight Gooden. What does Carl Rhodes do? Carl Tuffy Rhodes do that day against Dwight Gooden? He takes Dr. K deep 3 times. It was amazing. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we have this great player. I've never heard of him except for spring training. And he is going to just set the world on fire. He has taken the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the National League for the past 6, 7 years. He's taken him deep 3 times, and I'm so excited. Uh, Gooden won the game. He pitched 5 2/3 of an innings. He gave up 11 hits and 7 runs. Still won because we had Mike Morgan going, and Mike Morgan just was not that good. But Rhodes was 4 for 4, scored 3 runs, 3 solo home runs. He also walked. His batting average for the day was, went 4 for 4. His batting average for the day was 1,000. His on base percentage was 1,000. His slugging percentage was 3,250, and his
Wow.
OPS was 4,250. And I'm thinking, man, we got a star. But Carl Rhodes was he he was like flash paper. You light it, it's pretty, but it goes real fast and it's gone. And before I knew it, he was playing in Japan. Never had the career I thought he would, but for one day, he gave Cub fans, even in a loss, a very, very special memory.
You know,
Thanks.
baseball's like that. Here we are all these years later, Vince, and we're still talking about him and we know who he is. And I bet you 75% of the people who listen to this remember him as well. And that's just the beauty of baseball. And most of the kids, or most of the people I talked to back in those days, were extrapolating, well, he's got a shot to hit 480 home runs this year. They were doing the math, and all that. So, yeah, I remember him and I thought, wow, look out for this cat. And them home runs were no jokes either. I think he was crushing them that day.
Yeah, and he wasn't a big guy. He was our leadoff hitter, and he just whacking the ball around the yard like it's
Oh.
ping pong ball. So
Well, my greatest memory of opening day was 1997. I've got the honor to have been to some World Series, some playoffs. And I've been to a lot of different stadiums. I've just enjoyed the game, but I've never been to opening day. And this is the only opening day I've ever been to. And it was 1997, April 8th, and it was against the Montreal Expos. That's how long ago this was. And me and my wife and a friend who I will not name and his wife are going to the game. We get up to the thing to go in, and he forgot the tickets in the car. And we wanted to go because that's the great thing about opening day. The Cardinals have the Clydesdales and they have the cars and the players wave and we all cheer everybody and all the great players come out. I don't think they had the Red Jacket Club back in 97, but you would see, Stan and Red and all those players there. So I ran all the way back, got the tickets, came back, and by the time we get in there, the game's about to start. Oh, talking about disappointing, but it's still a Cardinal game. And that particular game, it was Todd Stoudemire. You remember old Todd Stoudemire for the Cardinals, and a young guy, 97 by the name, pitching for the Expos, Pedro Martinez. And I always was a fan of Ramon Martinez. Let's see what this guy's got. Electrifying. And there's a reason this guy is one of the all-time greats and he's in the Hall of Fame. And let me tell you, some of the names the Expos had Mike Lansing, and FP Santangelo. And
yeah, he's an announcer for the Nationals now.
is he?
Yeah,
Santangelo is?
FP Santangelo. Yeah.
I'll be darned. I thought he kind of just faded out there. And Delino DeShields and was on that team. But the Cardinals in '97, we had Royce Clayton and Gary Gaetti and Ron Gant, Brian Jordan, and Ray Langford. This is the year after Ozzie retired. And Willie McGee was still a member of the team. And our pitching staff, just a few, Danny Jackson. Was he a Cub? Danny Jackson?
Yeah, he was a Cub for a while. Yeah.
Mike Morris, who we both think is one of the more underrated Cardinal pitchers, or pitchers, period. He did a very good job. Donovan Osborne, my wife's least favorite Cardinal. That's a long story there. But and Andy Bennis and Todd Stoudemire. Anyway, went to extra innings that day, which for me, hey, extra baseball. But we lost 4-3 to the Expos. And 97, we made the playoffs the first time in a long time in 96, and that was LaRussa's first year. But 97, we weren't nothing special. But it was fun watching some of these players like Gaetti and Clayton and Gant and Jordan. And of course, one of my favorites, Ray Langford, big part of Cardinal history there, play. So I did get to go to one opening day, but we lost 4-3.
Mm. Well, my final memory involves both the Cubs and the Cardinals.
Ah,
April 5th, 2015. Um, we open on a Sunday night in Wrigley against the Cardinals on a rainy night. And we are I'm in a hotel room somewhere in Iowa, and the um, winter before the season is when we signed Lester. And there's a big cover on the Sports Illustrated, the Lester Factor. I saw it the Sports Illustrated somewhere. And because now remember the year before we were not that good, because Lester joined the team, the whole article was the Cubs are now serious playoff contenders. And we're thinking, yeah, yeah, right. Okay. He's good. He's not like we're bringing in Walter Johnson. He's a good pitcher who wanted to come here. Forever grateful, but I thought, okay, I want to see, you know,
Yeah, this
seen Lester
factor.
pitch before, but this time I'm really going to study him. Um, it didn't go good in that rainy day, rainy opening uh, night for the season. The Cardinals beat us 3-0, and Jason Hayward playing for the Cardinals had two doubles, and that was kind of neat to see that Hayward, his only year with the Cardinals, had that opening day where he completely crushed Lester, who was a left-hander, by the way. Wainwright started for the Cardinals, 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs. And then Carlos Martinez got a hold, and Trevor Rosenthal got the save. For the Cubs, Lester pitched 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 3 of them earned, 6 strikeouts. And then our bullpen came in and kept in check for the rest of the game. But I remember thinking, all right, it's a rainy day. It wasn't one of those days where you're going to score a whole lot of runs. And the Cardinals did only score 3 runs, but when you look at it, it was 4 1/3 innings, and Lester had already given up 8 hits and 3 runs. I'm thinking, yeah, this is the guy that's going to take us to the playoffs. Sure, he did take us to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, but that was the last tremendous opening day memory I have because I was so excited to see us with John Lester pitching, and it's like, I don't look so good. But anyway, those
That
are my memories.
that started y'all on that 5 year dominance where, I thought you had a shot at 5 championships. You got one and you were good, but those 5 years you dominated the Central, and that was the beginning of it. And fans, you just can't get up too much and down too low. Like you said, a rainy day and a cold day, and it's a long season, and you just never know what's going to happen. But yeah, Lester, I knew when you got in that year, you had some good pieces, and it was all coming together.
Yeah, we went through the first half of that season. Okay, yeah, we're second half of the season, we just caught fire. It
You
was
did.
like, I think the Cardinals won 100, we won, or the Pirates won 97, we won 96, or all three of us made the playoffs, and um, just
But you were the hottest at the end of the year, and that was when we kind of started cooling off the last month. And it's odd to say 100 wins and you're cooling off, but I personally did not want to. I would have rather played anybody but the Cubs in that first series.
yeah, well, we had Lester and Arrieta, because Arrieta, that's when he broke through and had that Cy Young season.
Mm.
Um, we we had those two going at the top, and they were very, very tough to beat. And so in a 5 game series against the Cardinals, I thought, we can throw Lester out there twice and Arrieta out there twice in a 5 game series. We got a really good shot at this. And we did. So,
You did. You did.
well, JJ, what are you opening up?
Well, I was going to show folks. I got 2024 Series One. It's a little bit bigger pack, but they're also selling these packs. So I just showing you. I think this one has 36 cards, and I'll do half of them. But the bigger box has 59 cards, and it's actually a better bargain if you buy the 50 if buy this box set right there. But you know, the cards are so expensive over the years. The packs are just getting more and more expensive. But I'll do
Yeah.
about half because this is such a big pack. So I'll do 18. I'm going to kind of break it down right in the middle. And oh man, let's see. I'm gonna make sure they're all pointing in the same direction. All right, my first one, and this guy, I tell you what, top 10 catcher, phenomenal player. The Brewers, William Contreras, very good player, and he, I don't know, he might, gosh, him and his brother, that's a good battle right there. And the on the MLB they rate uh William a little higher than Wilson, so that was last year. Let's see what happens this year. Um, a national player, wearing the city uniforms, Kyle Finnegan, right there. I like y'all's city uniforms better than theirs. Uh, Red Sox pitcher who's hurt right now, Kenley Jansen, who's had a nice career, been with a
Yeah.
lot of different teams. Uh, New York Met pitcher, reliever extraordinaire, Edwin Diaz, who comes out to
Hmm.
that trumpet music. So right there.
Now, did he start the year
I
on the
don't know.
IL?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from him, but the Mets haven't been in a situation to use him. So I don't know if he's had any, if he's there or he's still hurt. I know.
Yeah.
Tony Pruno has got me really interested in the legal leader cards. I just thought they used to be um, the extra cards, but this is for home run leaders last year. And as you can see, there's Garcia and Roberts, and of course Otani right there as of course there he is with the Angels. And that's another thing about cards, the passing of time and everything, because every year is different. Team card, which is cool. Your Chicago Cubs, and they're celebrating a
Hey.
victory right there. And on the back, and they go through a little story of the season and the leaders. So that's pretty cool. I like the way Topps did that. Very nice. All right, you know me, I can't pronounce anything. Edbert Alonzale?
Alzolay.
Ozale. There he is. No disrespect. I just can't say names to save my life. I'd like to be announcer, but I can only say like Bud Smith. That's about all I can do. Is just the basics, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here's one I can do. Oakland, and he better not wear a bracelet or he'll be in the minors. It's Seth Brown right there. I'm checking him to see if he's got any kind of paraphernalia on. Oh, Tampa Bay Rays. And I tell you what, that team, you just can't count them out, man. They're a feisty bunch. But Manuel Margot of Tampa Bay, right there. And I seen them wearing already their Devil Ray uniforms of the past with the big Devil Ray on their hat. I kind of like that. They're
Man,
already
I
went.
don't know why they changed the name. I like Devil Rays.
Yeah, I don't know. You can have Devil's Food Cake, Devil Ray, you know. Boston Red Sox in their city uniforms doing a little celebrating. It must have been a walk-off or something right there.
Yeah, those are the worst City Connect uniforms. I
I do like Colorado's with the
and the
mountains.
Padres. I don't like
Yeah,
the
I tell you what, that's a big one. I look in the crowd and I see a lot of Padre fans with those City Connects. This guy here, I don't know what to think of him. He's kind of a hothead, very talented player, and I believe he was with the Red Sox. Alex Verdugo, he was in on that Betts trade, and
yeah.
now is he a Yankee? I believe
Yeah,
he's a
he's a
Yankee
Yankee
now.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mets, they got a lot of good players, and this is one of them, Brendan Nimmo. There he is going after a home run right there.
Nice picture.
Nice picture. And I got two more. Oh, ex-Cub. And everybody was wanting this guy, Dylan Cease. How'd he do on his
Yeah.
first start? He's with the Padres, right?
I don't know. I didn't see what he did his first start. Padres are one team I haven't seen yet. No,
Uh,
no, I saw him opening day.
opening
Saw
day
the opening day one in
over in Korea.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like this guy. He started a little commotion with the Dodgers about calling him a bankroll or checkbook team, Miles Michaelis, right
Yeah.
there. But I like his gumption. Go out there, Miles. They lit you up, but you went down fighting, Jack. And finally, a San Francisco Giant, and that's a team I'm kind of watching this year. See what they do. Keaton Wynn, a pitcher who I know absolutely nothing about, but that's a good-looking card. It's a rookie card. I see the RC over there by his knee. Anyway, so that's my set. That's my pack tonight, Vince.
Okay, I am opening up my final pack of minor
Ooh,
league cards.
all
In
right.
fact, I went last fall to Springfield to one of my favorite resale shops, and I got a bunch of old baseball cards. This is my last pack of those. So,
All right.
and if
I,
people saw me like, these things are hard to open. So I was working on getting a tear in here so I could open them easily for you all when it got time for me to.
oh, very good. You're like a cook. You already got it made in the oven.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like a cook. Okay. Um, outfielder for the Phoenix Firebirds. We have Ken Gerhardt.
Kid looks happy. Look at that smile on his face.
Yeah, he's playing baseball. He should be happy.
Yeah, that's right.
This guy made it to the majors. Pitcher for the Tacoma Tigers, Jim Corsi.
All right. Big guy.
Played for the A's. I remember that. Shortstop for the Tidewater Tides, Ken Dowell. He went on to invent the dowel rod.
Wow. How about that?
Catcher for the Oklahoma City 89ers, Darren Loy.
Okay.
Uh,
Like that
Pitcher
uniform.
Buffalo Bisons, Larry Melton.
Larry.
You know, he doesn't look like he's melting to me. Looks like he's
No, he's out there.
together pretty
They
good.
really packed that stadium. Look at the crowd behind him.
Yeah. Outfielder for the Omaha Royals, Matt Winters.
Matt Winters.
Pitcher for the Iowa Cubs, I do remember him for a spot, Dean Wilkins.
Did he ever make it up to the big team?
I don't know if he ever made it up to the big team. I know there was buzz about him. Uh, he had a good year at Pittsfield, 5-7, 1.63 ERA, saved 26 games. So,
Hey.
okay. I've never heard of this guy, but he's got an awesome name for the Tucson Toros, Brick Smith.
Rick Smith.
Brick,
Yeah.
great name. Catcher for the Colorado Springs, Sky Sox,
This guy sucks.
Danny Schaefer. Did he play for the Cardinals?
Yes, yeah, I think of Rockies maybe too. He was a
Okay.
catcher. Yeah, he was a catcher. Right. I seen that now that you pointed that out. Yeah, he had a pro career.
All right. Very good. And pitcher for the Rochester Red Wings, Mike Jones.
Hmm.
You want to know what I think of this pack? Wah, wah.
Danny Schaefer. You don't just get a Danny Schaefer anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you don't. Maybe one day, if he's at one of your card shows that you go to, I'll give you that card and he can sign it.
All
So
right, there we go.
thanks for saving my minor league card. So, well, JJ, we are going into the second week of baseball. It's
Oh,
exciting.
yes. And we get to come home. We've been on the road against some tough teams. You guys already had your opener, but you know, like you say, give it a couple weeks, see who's doing good, who's got it. The batting average, some guys are hitting 800. Who was it? Soto is on fire. Mookie Betts, they can't be doing this all year. And then you got guys just hitting 100. Arenado's just got a couple of hits. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I just can't wait to see it unfold.
Yeah, like the great Mike Claiborne says, I don't pay attention to the standings until Flag Day. So up until Flag Day, you can't win it by Flag Day, but you can be out of it by Flag Day. Let's
Oh,
not be Flag Day. So,
definitely.
all right, JJ, you have a good week, and I will
You
see you
too.
next week. All righty.